Everybody, hey, how are you? I'm still sitting here with Cecilia Johnson. We are going over a few different topics. We're going to hit up one that is a reoccurring topic on the show that is always fun to talk about, and it is the chaotic, whatever you want to describe it as, the 2020 Democratic presidential primary. Cecilia, the Iowa caucus just happened, right? And I don't know, it's been almost 24 hours. I don't know if we even know who won yet. I mean, they kind of
Did it just happen? I don't know.
Yesterday, right? Yeah, right. Here's a fun headline. Not that we're going to get into it. It's just a really funny comment from Business Insider. An Iowa woman tried to retract her support for Pete Buttigieg after learning he's gay. It says, an Iowa caucus goer tried to retract her support for Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg after learning he's married to a man. Buttigieg came out of the closet in 2015 and married his husband Chasten in June 2018. Quote, he better read the Bible, the woman who asked for her vote card back says in a video that went viral. All right. That's just a funny commentary. We don't really care if you're gay. That's just funny. How did she not know by this point? But
I think he's been very open and very clear about it.
Yeah, for 5 years now. She missed
Even
that
on the
part.
presidential campaign, I think his husband has joined him on a couple of things. So
yeah, all sorts of interviews too.
Yeah, how you can not know that?
Yeah, here it says, okay, New York Post, Iowa Democrats still won't say when full caucus results will be in. So this was just from this morning. Is this just not the most chaotic? Again, people keep saying this on different interviews and Twitter and all of that. This is the party that wants to centrally plan every aspect of your life. And they can't even figure out how to run a caucus. Whether or not caucuses are outdated, as some might say, compared to like a traditional primary or whatever, it couldn't be more. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, these they are always harping about how the government can do it better, or they can do it better with healthcare, education, free college for everybody, and everything. And we're supposed to turn over 40% of our lives into their care.
Yeah.
And they can't even count votes.
Yeah. And actually, here's this other article. This was posted yesterday evening from the Daily Mail. Okay, so you know the story that the chaos was created by this new app they all agreed to use on their phones. It used to just be papers, they would call it in and right? Pretty straightforward. It worked for decades. They used this new app. Here's the headline. Caucus app blamed for Iowa vote count chaos was created by tech firm Shadow Inc. that is run by staff from Hillary Clinton and Obama's campaigns. What are you laughing for?
I mean, this is almost as bad as when the Obamacare website came out, and that whole debacle.
You know how much that cost, right?
How much? I can't
remember.
Guess. Something ridiculous, like $1 billion.
Yeah. It was technically 1.8 billion.
Really?
But one estimate is up to 2.1 billion. They don't even know still. But yeah, the highest estimate is 2.1 billion dollars
for a website that doesn't.
And now this is a shout out to all of. So Cecilia and I both live in Kansas City, obviously. This is a shout out to all of our neighbors in the tech community and the startup community in Kansas City. We were talking about them earlier. You guys know how much it costs to build a website. Just to build a basic website, if you're doing it by yourself, $100 at the worst. That's if you're buying a template. Let's just say you're going to build a really good website with a lot of security and encryption and this and that and a lot of features. Okay, $25,000, $100,000. All the Obamacare website does is pull data as if you're searching for an airline flight, and it's secured. $2 billion. I dare you to Google that and then email me or tweet me that I'm wrong, because yeah, you'll see that's what it came out to. So anyway, are you surprised at all? I'm not surprised at all. Are you surprised at all that Bernie Sanders, who has the most amount of momentum going into this, was completely lambasted by an app that was run and created by Hillary Clinton and Obama's former campaigners?
No, I am absolutely not surprised at all. This is just a repeat of how they tried to lock him out in 2016.
Yep.
He had a lot of support. A lot of people I knew personally were Bernie Sanders supporters, and they just could not believe how the DNC, the party leaders, were working against him.
Yeah.
And cheating so that Hillary could win and secure the nomination. So I'm surprised that he's surprised at this. I'm surprised that anybody who's surprised that they would treat poor little Bernie Sanders like this.
Speaking of Bernie Sanders, let me toss this next one to you. Speaking of presidential candidates, this is from Politico yesterday. Power to the people. Bernie Sanders calls for federal takeover of electricity production. Cecilia, you know who does this? Third world nations do this. You guys at home listening and watching, please do not. I understand if you like Bernie. I understand if you like the idea of free healthcare or free college. This is where it goes off the rails. This is where socialism doesn't become a pipe dream. This is no longer democratic socialism.
No.
This is proper seize the means of production.
And to think I just had sympathy for this guy.
Yeah, it says here
20 seconds ago.
The subtitle: Sanders wants federally owned utilities to build massive amounts of wind and solar to compete with private generators, but critics say that would complicate an already tricky transition to clean energy. So yeah, he wants the federal government to, I don't want to overstep what he's saying, but more or less nationalize the energy industry. Mm-hmm. Pick winners and losers, and say this is how it's going to go. It's just one hair away from just full-blown seize the means of production.
You think that's a hair away from that?
I'm trying to remain, I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself and be made a fool of on Twitter, but I know.
No, I don't think it's a hair away. I think it's just one big step into it. So, I mean, this is just another problem with, Sanders. And I think that this is one of his problems with his party, because even as far left as they are, they look at him and they're just like, okay, we're not even that far yet.
Yeah.
So I think that this is one of the prime examples of why his party does what they do against. And I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. But I think that he's even just too far left for them, and they're, I think, honestly surprised that he keeps getting all of these supporters, especially the young ones, because he has a stronghold on a lot of the youth vote on that side, even with, his ideas being so far-fetched. So I think this is one of the reasons that his party, treats him the way they do.
So, okay, Cecilia, we're both the same age. Mm-hmm. Why the hell do people our age and younger love socialism right now, in your opinion? I've got my opinion, and people love giving
What's your opinion first?
I think it's twofold. I think, one, the communist, Marxist, socialists who, since the free love of the 60s, the Weather Underground, the Saul Alinsky types, they got into higher education and they started really reworking what it means. I mean, keep in mind, these are the same people who took away dodgeball in elementary school. They gave everyone participation trophies. They, they turned men into women, women into men, confused everyone on what's going on and who we are. I think a lot of it is that. Mm-hmm. And mix that with my parents and a lot of parents in America who are saying, you don't have a choice. You're going to go to college and you're going to get a degree and you're going to earn a lot of money, because that's, that worked in the 50s, 60s, 70s mm-hmm. when 20, 30% of the population went. But now we have like 80, 85% of graduates going to college mm-hmm. and they're coming out with, well, now they're all just like high school grads again, because they're all graduating college. So I think these two things mixing with each other, mm-hmm. and here comes Uncle Bernie saying, well, you guys never learned anything in civics or economics or any. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course we can afford healthcare. Of course we can afford free energy and free this and free that. So I think that's my take. What about you? Do you have anything?
No, I think your take is pretty accurate. Not just the higher education part, but just the high school part as well.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't teach us very well, about civics and teach us a lot about different philosophies and stuff as well, and just basic history. I didn't learn about communism really until I was an adult. I didn't learn about I didn't really know, like, who is Stalin. I don't know this guy. Why do we not like him? So when you're not taught it from a younger age and taught it the correct way, a lot of that stuff looks and seems fair. to
Good
people.
point.
And we're such a generation that's all fair this, fair that, fair that. And I think it's easy for us to get sucked into the free too, because we're not making, a lot of money. A lot of us aren't, really don't feel like we're really thriving financially. And a lot of it is student loans. So if you have someone coming in and they're saying, well, not only am I going to wipe away your student loans, but I'm going to make college free, you look at it and you say, well, student loans are a reason that I'm poor now.
Yeah.
So for my kids, I would want them to not even have that option, not even have that weight to bear. So I think he's really good at harping on our messages and thoughts and beliefs on fairness and equality and things like that. And we do have this thing with the wealthy and the thought of the idea of the wealthy, when most millionaires are first generation millionaires, which we don't even pay attention to that fact. But I think that a lot of us we can't see the forest for the trees.
That's such a good comment. Many people don't realize just how many millionaires were not millionaires one generation before, and how many millionaires won't be millionaires in the next generation. It's this kind of thing. It's constantly going up and down, up.
Yeah.
It's not like the same 1,000 people have been millionaires since, the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like the Rockefeller family will probably always be millionaires or billionaires, right? But the majority of us are. So, and I'll close this episode with this thought, and this is one that I'll always go back to, because you and I are in Kansas City. The voters are in Kansas City district, right? We all know the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl. You touched on just a moment ago the fairness, the equality thing. The Chiefs did not win because they were trying to be fair, and they were trying to be equal and give everybody gets a fair chance. We have an even number of men and women. We have an even number of poor and rich. We have an even number of blacks, whites, and every other even number of Christians, Jews, atheists. No, the Chiefs got the very best wide receivers they could, the very best running backs, the very best quarterbacks, the very best coaches. And working together, they won the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
If their number one goal was to make sure everyone's equal and taken care of and nobody's feelings are hurt, and we didn't win the Super Bowl for the last 50 years. Well, we need to deal with those injustices. Like, no. We're going to focus, we're going to set goals, and we're going to bring the very best people in. It goes right in the face of, kind of what this Sanders general idea of the cultural Marxism, the social justice, the Bernie Sanders message. So that's one that I will always go back to, because it's right here in Kansas City, and you can't, you can't just kind of, maybe, but so.
Yeah, I mean, I use that analogy kind of a lot when I'm talking about fairness. It's not fair that LeBron James is 6'8" and can shoot free throws and jump shots and all of that, and I can't.
Yeah.
Me fairness
too.
Is subjective in a lot of ways, because there are things that, he has the ability to do that I can't do, and there are things that I have the ability to do that he can't do.
And let me type this in: LeBron James salary. Let's see. LeBron James got paid $35 million last year. Do you know how much a basketball is worth to me?
How much?
Like nothing, because I'm terrible at basketball. A basketball is worth $35 million a year to LeBron James. That's not fair.
Oh man.
Regardless, though.
This is why we need to be married, LeBron and I. Okay. That's real fairness. That's real fairness. Equality.
Absolutely. Okay, everybody. Thanks for catching up with us on the Democrat presidential primary race right now. We'll catch you on the next episode. My name is Ryan Derks. I'm running from Missouri's 5th Congressional District, and I approve this message.